Therefore, the Sasquatch is for use the skull. But then skull and everything is for you. The Bigfoot here look like a history. How Bigfoot for use is the great. Then you look like a Bigfoot as well. But how can I find for you, sir? Bigfoot then look like a picturesque one. Then a Bigfoot. Then you found it here like this. You see the Bigfoot for you, so then ape, then you look. These are the Bigfoot, then you walk. Things that are Sasquatch for users, they're hide and seek as well. The Sasquatch, then you can be gone. And a Sasquatch, then you have search, then look like this Bigfoot. Then you saw the Bigfoot as one. Then you press, like that way you look like a Bigfoot, but then you still got, but the Bigfoot, like that way you can find. Sasquatch, a force of Canada of Bigfoot. In Calgary, in the city of Alberta, Canada. Then you walk out the Bigfoot, then you see, then you use the Bigfoot. But I hope the Bigfoot will be here. Then you can walk, then you hide it on a tree. In several years ago, but live in Canada. Did you see a few years ago, but live in Calgary, Canada? But then you see it their skeleton look. But then you see whatever else of that. I hope that you breathe and everything else I get for years ago. But the Bigfoot and everything else I get for years. But the Bigfoot you have to search. But the Bigfoot cut the bone. But then the skeleton of Bigfoots. But then the Bigfoot, then can you move? But the Bigfoot can walk. But the Bigfoot, then you can walk in this one. Then put you on the side of the table. But the Bigfoot, you cut a bag. And you see a bag, then you put you on the Bigfoot's this one. But then the Bigfoot, then you put you on a bag. Then you cut up. Then you bring the bags here. Then you Bigfoot. But then the Bigfoot, then you cut it up. Then you see a mountain. Then you can fit the Bigfoot, you cut the skull. As you did, but everything else for use. But I can't before users as you go. But then I hope then you see a Bigfoot. But then you can look at this way again. But the Bigfoot, you can start it up. But then you look like this. Way ago. But the Bigfoot. But the doctor has been done. You got almost there to look at this way. It look like a skull. Ooh, a skull. That way is a skull. But then you be end of the day. In the meantime. But then the Bigfoot skull. And as they thought. But then skull. You have the Bigfoot. Then you cut it down. But then you look like this way. But I hope that you look like skull. But yesterday, I really cut it their price. But I hope that thing, I will get hear you for that way you see a Bigfoot. But then, I will be largest, look like a face like a skull, look like a gorilla, or bonobo, or chimpanzee. But then, I hope that this way, the Bigfoots are face and look like a gorilla, like large ape, like a chimpanzee. But then you found it. But I hope this way. But the Bigfoot, then you cut it, then you put you on the bag. Ooh, nice job for skull. That's the age. The Bigfoot you'll have to search. Also, meantime, these are searching that way. Then a Bigfoot you call a doctor. Then the tripper, it was named camper. But the camper, then you look like called the doctor. But the camper for you. Please have this way. I hope that you look like me. You hold up. But then you look like this one. As a result, But then you look like that way, you look at this one. But I hope that thing, it will be Bigfoot. You caught it to picture. Then in the meantime, the Bigfoot will cannot see. All calling this one called a camper. You call the camper, then you see a doctor. Oh, nice to meet you, camper. But a camper, then you see at the skull of a Bigfoot. But when you look like this, where you look like then a skull, then you put it upside, then you have to search. Then the camper will help to the bag. All over there, to back to Canada. Then a Canada, then you look like this way over that way, sleep, go to Ottawa National Center. And you go to their side, all over that world. Here comes that way, you look like me. But the Bigfoot will cut that in your skulls in their Calgary, Canada. But then you put your the bone. Then the bones up there on your side. Then the bones, you call it the Canadian Empire. So that if you search the Bigfoot, if we use the for a way, look like this. But then I will search it again. Then you have to search. Then you have a Bigfoot here. Then you click it out. There I see it one. But then I'm done. You have to press it. Then a Bigfoot is nearly done. Then in the meantime, the Bigfoot will calm that. But then the Bigfoot will be here like this way. But you can hide. Then you look like an image of a Bigfoot. Then a Bigfoot, then you paint again. Then you click this one, and the Bigfoot will be hide. Then a paste all over the taste in the world, then you click it again. Then it pastes up the paint. Then you look like a Bigfoot. For use the greatest missing. Then you type its name, it's Georgina. But then Georgina. But then Georgina. Then you using the typing here like this. For use the Bigfoot has looked like a Yeti. Looks like that way. Then you look, then you type, then turns to like this way is missing. But then you look like this way. But then you look like may lot of. But then you look like this. But then you look like this way. But then the date is December 28, 1375. But then you look like this. But then in 1375, that will look like this way. Then you search, then you look like this one. Then turn to big. Like searching, that way the Bigfoot will be missing. Then you look like this way. but then you'll be missing like Bigfoot named Georgie. As the meantime, but I hope then you look like it. But then you see it, but everything else for back. Then the Bigfoot, the Georgina the Bigfoot still missing again. Then you can hide it on a tree. But then the print again, you print like this way. Then a Bigfoot, then you cut it out, then a Bigfoot, then you see the Bigfoot will come that way, see it. It was for the Georgina, Teresa, Patricia, and Samson. Then you look like a Sasquatch all over the world. But the meantime, I guess something you look like this way, you look like of course. The camper, you'll hear like this one. But then a camper, all over this one, the Bigfoot, then you look like a skull. Then the Bigfoot, then you cut it here, you look like the skeleton. Then you pack up like this. A doctor, it will get it up like this. I guess something else look like this way for Bigfoot, like by Georgina. Sometimes everyone there else again. But then I hope then you see it for that way you said again. But then you look like me. Then you look like the cherry. But I hope that day. Then you look like this way, this. But the Bigfoot, then you look very large. Every day, then you look like that. But then you look like a talk. But then you talk at me. But I hope that you look this way. But I hope that way you look. But the Bigfoot, then you look like this. Then you pack away. Then you look pack away on your bag. But the camper wants to pack away the bag. Oops! But then you must have to pack away on your bag. Then you see it. Then you're missing that. But I hope that thing you look. But then you print it on your bag. But then I hope that thing you look. But then the bag. But everywhere. Every day you look like or use the Bigfoot on your skull. Then you look like this way, but I go to their Calgary. But then I'll be walk on the Bigfoot. Then you look this, still missing on the hiding the tree. But the Bigfoot, then you can there look like this one. And there's a Bigfoot to this way you can hide. And you can found the Bigfoot. There is a Georgina Samson was to the Georgina the Bigfoot wants to hide it in their branch of the tree. But then you found everything else for you is to follow the tree. Then I hope there you look like the Bigfoot, as they thought look like to be so like to fight. But the Bigfoot, as they thought to me. But I hope that thing else again. When you look like me, so that Bigfoot then you can stand up like me. But the Bigfoot then you found at the pack of your food. But the Bigfoot wants to stay all over size. Then the skeleton, then you can size on your ruler, but a tape measure. But the Bigfoot you use the ruler. All over times the ruler was to be fit over many times ago. 60 feet. Yes. But I hope that thing you look. But then you have to use the calculator. Then a calculator. Then you see to solve. Ooh, a solve. But then at the solve, then 14 plus 25 equals 39 feet. But the Bigfoot skull has 39 feet inches. But the Bigfoot, then you stand it up. Then the doctor wants to size like this way. But the Bigfoot, and then you look like that. Then make another one Bigfoot. Then you size and use a ruler again. how many times ago we did. Then use the ruler. Then use a calculator. Then erase. Then 45 minus 13. Then you think. Then I think. Then you see them all over things so well. But then you think that was equals 32 inches. But then 32 inches, but the skull is right back. The skull has 39 inches. But there will thought for me. Again, you look like this one, but I hope then you see it like me. But then you see, we have to focus then a Bigfoot into your side of your history. But then you hope that thing should look like a Bigfoot. Then you'll go to Canada, all over, going to Tibetan plateaus in China, all over Pakistan. But then you go over to Mount Everest. Then you see the Mount Everest. Sometimes you look like this way to fly. Then you fly. Then you fly on the world. Did you see? But over them to Mount Everest. Then you have to rest for a while. Oh, that's really fresh like Mount Everest. Mount Everest, then you come to this way, then you go down to airplane, then you climb out the mountains, then you see climbing in the mountains. But the mountains are really good to see, look like a pine tree. Just anywhere else, but then you look like this one. But the trees, then you'll see like a Georgina Wilson. Georgina Wilson, the Sasquatch are called as a Yetis. But then a Yeti, then as one for you, the Yeti will be hide. But the meantime, you get missing to go over skull. But then skull is a Fahrenheit to know. But then that's a 39 inches. What the size? Then size of cold. But then is the size of cold? Sure. Then a cold. Then high temperature cold. For cold, low temperatures. 12 times 65 equals 780 inches of low temperature. The low temperature has to be thought of your skull. Then low temperature, but put your bones up here, is in that cold area. It's 32 inches. But 32 inches are cold as 56 times 69 equals 3,864 inches low temperature in the nick of time. Then a Bigfoot will come, as they thought here yet, but then you look like Bigfoots are low temperature. But then I hope something else. But then you have the cold in temperature for low. But then the low temperature, as I thought yet, we have the low temperature. Then in the meantime, the low temperatures they taught us the years. But then the low temperature, then you'll look like this one. Then a low temperature. But then in the meantime, there's a low temperature. As the meantime, the low temperature as they taught. You see, the Yeti Bigfoot is gone. But then the Yeti Bigfoot will be gone. Then you turn to cold. At several years. Then go to China over the Mount Everest. There will be hike. They will hike. At 4 years ago, the Bigfoot will found a skull. But then a skull, then you look like me, like this one. Then a Bigfoot, they got missing like this. Then a Bigfoot, then you saw like this. But the Bigfoot, you can hide. Then you can hide it already. Then you hide the camouflage like this. Then you can hide that you found like in the Mount Everest. They are called as a found look like a Bigfoot. As the meantime, the Bigfoot will calls it. Everything else I don't think I can find. Then a Bigfoot, then you look like this way for you is the Bigfoot. There you look like a Bigfoot is there. Then a Bigfoot you look like a Mount Everest. Then at the Mount Everest, you look like this way for Bigfoot. Then you for used to look at the mountains. There are all the mountains all over the world. But the Mount Everest, they live in Pakistan to Tibetan China. Then as a meantime, the Tibetan China of Pakistan. So then, you live in Asia. But then in the meantime, I hope that you look like to see it. But then you look like me. Then you look like the same time. But then I hope that thing is everything else for you is the Bigfoot their name Yeti. Then a Yeti, then you see that will look like this one. But the Bigfoot, then you see all over live in Mount Everest in Tibetan China and Pakistan. Then you look like this way. Then you see at the mountains for use. Then a Sasquatch is for use called Yeti will be gone again. Then go to the forest. Then a forest. Then you see like that one, your forest like me. Then a forest. Then you saw it like me, like that way. Then you could see it look like a Bigfoot. All over this way you're missing like the Georgine. Then I'll go over the world. Then you can hide, look like a pine, that look like a trees. Then you find the trees. Then you hear it again. Then you go to Bigfoot as they thought. Then you hide it again. Like this you can hide in there. Tibetan. Then you look like this. Thanks for National Geographic channel.